Hi, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here in Berlin, my hometown for the last 10 years, and at a Gnosis conference. Wonderful team, wonderful group, and wonderful conference. So it's my pleasure today to introduce prediction feeds. And you might ask, what's that about? Well, that's what I'm going to share about. This is a project that we've been working on at Ocean Protocol for a while, and yeah, today we're announcing it. Let's get started. Imagine that you are a trapeze artist, 5 meters, 10 meters above the ground. Every single muscle that you move makes a difference. Makes a difference whether you fall, whether you do that high wire act successfully or not. And therefore, you've got to predict what the effect is extremely well. In prediction can come beauty. In prediction can come greatness. Imagine you're an F1 driver. Every millisecond almost matters. Turn left a bit too far, disaster. Turn right a bit too far too quickly, disaster. So in prediction can come greatness, can come winning. There's also less than greatness sometimes if you predict badly. Predict about the effects of climate, build a house on the coast when the seawater is rising. Not so good. So prediction can be helpful or not helpful. All right. I predict that if I press the button, it goes forward. No. All right. Try backwards. Not sure what's happening. There we go. Great. I go backwards. There we go. OK. So, I hinted at climate change, right? So I have a sort of pet project. I'm very fascinated by what's going on with the rise of the seas, and in particular, southern Florida. In 30 years or 100 years, no one quite knows, the bottom third of Florida will be underwater. And this is a zoom in on a portion of the bottom third of Florida, in Miami in particular. South Beach, which is where Miami Beach, like South Beach, Miami, all that, it was actually under the sea, and it was reclaimed from the sea in about 1910. There was a big boom in the 1920s. A lot of it got built up, again in the 50s, again in the 80s, and more recently in the last 10 years. And this is what Miami Beach is like now on the left. The blue is water, and the green and brown is not water. But if the water level were to rise 1 meter, then you've got about 2/3 of South Beach. That's the sort of peninsula islandy stuff. That'll be mostly underwater. With a 2-meter rise, 100% underwater, that part, and 2/3 of the rest of Miami underwater as well. 3-meter rise, everything. And if you were to zoom out, like mentioned, the whole bottom third of Florida would be underwater. Not so good. So then the question is, when, right? Well, of course, there are predictions for what the sea level would be in Miami from the University of Florida and otherwise. And there's an agency in the USA dedicated to measuring sea levels as well, called the NOAA. So they've got a prediction. The American Army as well. So the NOAA, they're predicting, upper bound, that it'll be a 2-meter rise by the year 2100. So in about 75 years, that 2 meters, so almost worst case scenario, it's going to be pretty underwater, right? There's a very, very conservative measure that it's a fraction of that. But overall, by about 2100, we're looking at 1.6, 2.1 meters. But you can ask, how accurate is that, right? They've got their upper bound, their lower bound. So let's look at past performance of these predictions. So if we look at predictions from another climate group called the IPCC, from 1990 till about 2010, they had their predictions were that shaded gray curve there. So there was an upper bound and a lower bound. And if we see what actually happened, that's the blue lines. It actually hit within the confidence bounds, but the very, very upper confidence bounds. So it was hugging the edge, right? So, and why were they so, almost off? Why was it so off? Well, they didn't account for the melting of the glaciers enough. And the reason they didn't was because they said, we don't have robust enough data. So they could have accounted maybe with wider confidence intervals, but in this case they didn't. And I'm not saying that they were bad, it's just that it's really hard to make predictions. How are other ones doing? There's a lot that are good, but I'm highlighting some ones where they've had trouble. Here's one for the degree of sea ice, where in about the 1970s, up to the year 2000, there had been predictions, and the sea ice went off by a factor of 40%. pretty quickly, right? So it fell off the rails. And the thing is, this stuff matters a lot, right? There's a lot on the line here. You know, Florida going underwater, or Vancouver, or New York, or Venice, or Amsterdam. Berlin's actually okay. If you look at the map of what happens, Berlin is pretty good for all of this, at least for water. For heat, maybe another story. But at least for water. The point is, overall, it's really hard to get accurate predictions. So how do we do that? Because if we can do it, there is great value there, right? For real estate, if you know that real estate will go up in a certain area, great, you're in great shape. If you're a farmer, I grew up on a farm in rural Canada, and we would have the radio on all the time. And every 30 minutes, there was the weather report, and it was like everyone had to shut up and listen. What are they going to say about, is it going to rain or not? And that really mattered, because it mattered for the next 1 hour, the next 6 hours, the next 12 hours, what our actions would be. Would we go farming, you know, seeding or plowing or whatever? Or, and if we do, what's the risk of getting stuck in the mud and wrecking our crops? So it really matters in agriculture, for spraying, for bugs, all that too. What about logistics, right? You're often trying to plan your manufacturing capacity 3 months, 6 months, 12 months ahead. Right now we have a chip shortage for GPUs, because NVIDIA locked in their orders 6 months, 12 months ago with TSMC. So we're feeling a GPU shortage. And of course, crypto prices, right? We all think about that, I'm sure. You know, this is a crypto conference. What if you can predict the price of ETH, whether it goes up 5 minutes from now or not, or 60 minutes? There's value in that. There's alpha. So overall, actually, oh, it somehow jumped, but that's OK. Let's keep going. OK, so accurate predictions are hard. And here's a key thing. There's no accountability when wrong, right? When listening to that radio, from the weatherman about whether it's going to rain or not. If they say it's going to rain with 90% probability and then it doesn't rain, you know, it's sort of no skin off their back. But to the farmer, to my father the farmer, it really mattered, because it was 6 hours, 12 hours of lost time when you could have been farming, and vice versa, even worse. If they say it's not going to rain and you go into the field and you get stuck in the mud and wreck a bunch of stuff, that's really quite bad. So the weatherman, he's like, I don't know. So how do we get accountability in predictions? And here's the core idea. And this is accurate prediction feeds, right? This is time series. For accurate prediction feeds, you need to make the predictions accountable. Put your money where your mouth is. So therefore, if you're correct, you make money. And if you're wrong, you lose money. Simple as that. And of course, you can take this in many ways in blockchain land, but blockchains are you know, a system for engineering these incentives, token engineering, all of that. So here's the goal overall. We want to have prediction feeds for everything. We want to have prediction feeds for climate, and for short-term climate, which is weather, rain and wind and all that, for transportation, for logistics, for manufacturing, and for crypto, of course. We want it to be globally distributed, where anyone can predict and earn money. It's no gatekeeping at all. We need it to be accountable, therefore we get accuracy. We need it to be non-custodial, you know, that we can't be a middleman having the money flowing in and out. And of course, it's got to be privacy preserving, because if everything is transparent, people can't make money very easily. So that's the goal. What do we do with this? Well, today I'm happy to announce Ocean Predictor. And Ocean Predictor is an dApp and a stack for prediction feeds, predicting time series. Let me share what Predictor is all about. Here's the overview. There are two key sets of actors in the Ocean Predictor ecosystem. There are predictors. These are people who are using AI and machine learning and other things to make predictions. Such as, you know, will Bitcoin go up in 5 minutes or not? And then they take those predictions and they put them into a smart contract running on a chain. And this smart contract, they have one for Bitcoin, one for ETH, et cetera, into this predictor contract. And then they're going to get paid if they're right, OK? I'll get more into that later. And then along come traders who can buy these feeds. And they'll see, OK, ETH is going to go up in 5 minutes. And they know from past experience that it's maybe 52% accurate or 60% accurate or whatever. So that's alpha. They can make money from that. So they buy these feeds, and then they use that to trade. You know, it can be a direct trade, right? Buy low, sell high, or vice versa, shorting the other direction. Or you know, you can get fancy with options and derivatives. But the heart of this is, now there are prediction feeds that are available on-chain for purchase by anyone in this globally distributed, permissionless, non-custodial fashion. Let's drill into the structure a bit more. So this is, on the left, predictors or traders or whatever, they can get going by going to predictor.ai. This is a new site that we just launched today. where you can go there and play around and see these feeds. And I'll show some screenshots in a bit. You can play there and start to get a feel, start to build your mental model of what it looks like. But where the rubber really hits the road, where the real action is if you're a predictor, you're making predictions every 5 minutes or so, you're going to want to run a bot, because otherwise you're going to get tired after a couple hours. So we have template bots for people to run as a predictor to make predictions. A baseline random one, and then also ones with some AI models for people to work with and so on. But of course, if you really want to do well, if you're an AI person, then you go in and make a better model yet to make better predictions yet. We also have a template bot for traders, a very basic one. If it says price go up, then buy, and then automatically sell 5 minutes later, and vice versa for price go down. So that's the heart of the top-level interactions. And then from these bots, what they're doing is they're sending the predictions to the chain, and if they're correct, they're making money. And then the traders as well, they're buying the predictions from the chain, and then working against that. This is a screenshot of Predictor.ai, and it looks a lot like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap or something. So every single row is another pair. So on the top, it's, in this case, Bitcoin, true US dollar. And what it shows you then, going left to right, the price of that at 11:15, and then 11:20, and then now, and then 11:25, basically, will the price go up or not? That's the predictions row. I mean, it's column, sorry. And then it tells you the accuracy over time, too. So if it's random, it'll converge to 50%. If you've got actually good predictions happening, it could be 51%, 60%, whatever. And of course, if you don't have the subscription yet, you can buy it. There's one feed that's free, and the rest you can buy. OK. What do the bot templates look like? So we've got a GitHub repo, open source, Apache 2, blah, blah, blah. And you can go there and we'll go through the README and get running with the template. And of course, you can fork it, do your own thing. And you can do this if you want to be a predictor, making predictions, or if you want to be a trader, buying the predictions and then trading against this. So what is the life cycle of a prediction itself? So it happens over 3 epochs, over 3 intervals of 5 minutes or whatever the interval is. At epoch T, the first epoch, that's where the predictors submit their prediction. And they submit it right before the epoch ends, typically, right? So like 2 seconds before, 10 seconds before, whatever. And what they each do is they submit a prediction, but critically, they have to put their money where their mouth is. So they submit a prediction and a stake of, say, this first guy, he says, I'm going to stake maybe 10 Ocean. I predict that ETH will go up. And the second guy, he stakes maybe 20 Ocean. ETH will go up. And the third guy says going down. OK. Then what happens, it aggregates this together in a privacy provisioning way. I'll get to that. And as an overall prediction. And it says, OK, it's going up with, say, 30 of 50 Ocean staked towards up. OK. And then that is information for the trader to take and use however they like. It could be a very simple trading strategy, or it could be fancier. So they buy. And then a simple strategy for them is 5 minutes later, when the third epoch starts, they sell. Okay? That's when the prediction was for, so they sell then. Or they exit their position. And then at the same time in that epoch, this is when the true value is available, right? Because now the true value of ETH has been posted on Binance, whatever, in the Binance exchange. So we have an agent running that posts this to the smart contract. And then there's accounting done to update, OK, this predictor was right, he gets some money. This predictor was right, he gets money. This predictor was wrong, he gets slashed. And so overall, I'll get into it, but predictors themselves make money if they're accurate overall and lose money if they're not. So once again, accountably accurate. What about privacy? Overall, there's actually 3 privacy challenges here. In this system, in the predictor system, we need privacy for the predictions that are submitted, because if that's transparent on-chain, then other people would just peek on-chain and see, right? Also, the computing from the different submitted predictions from 3 or 20 different predictors, as those get aggregated up, that has to be private as well, because otherwise people, if it was transparent, once again, you wouldn't be able to create value from it. And the third thing is the aggregated predictions themselves. Once this compute has been done, that aggregated prediction has to be not fully private. It has to be available to whoever has subscribed to that feed, whoever's paid to see that feed. So those are the 3 privacy needs. And of course, you could do this centralized, right? But then that kills the rest of the specs. So you want to keep it where it's decentralized, non-custodial, permissionless, all of this, right? So that's the big challenge. And for the last 10 years, we've had transparent chains. And now, the world is moving towards privacy. And just in the nick of time of the privacy work, we explored and looked around at the different options of what would work. We built many prototypes using a whole variety of things from home of work encryption to TEs and so on. And in the end, we chose to use Oasis Sapphire. Why? Well, it met our privacy needs cleanly end to end. It's the only privacy-preserving EVM chain in production right now, which is, that's just how it is. And how does it make things private? It uses Intel SGX, Trusted Execution Environment, TEE. And with this, I would like to welcome Mate from Oasis on stage to tell a few more words about Oasis, because we've been become big fans of Oasis Sapphire Network. So please take it away, Mate.
Yeah, thank you, Trent. Can I employ you for? No, you can switch it.
Oh,
I
sure.
don't know which the button is.
There we go.
Yeah, so you're going to be my slide switcher, right?
All right.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm the BD manager at Oasis, Mate. And yeah, congrats to the Ocean team for launching Predictor. We're very happy to see this product. We think it's going to do good. And we're also excited to see them using the underlying tech Sapphire for the privacy preservation of the data feeds, of prediction feeds, basically, yeah. So I'm going to do a quick intro of what Sapphire is. So basically, it enables contract state confidentiality. It's very flexible. So in essence, everything's public if you don't program it to be private. So it's not like a privacy chain when everything needs to be private, but you can have it on a spectrum. It can be completely public, completely private, or anywhere in between. It has strong integrity and security guarantees because we're separating compute from key management TEs. So if something gets basically compromised, everything doesn't get revealed, as in maybe some other project that you also use TEs. We also have full EVM compatibility, so easy to use with familiar tooling, right? You're using Solidity, Hardhat, Truffle, and with native privacy, you can get like random number generation, signing, encryption, all of that, just using natively on-chain, right? If you can switch to the next slide. As we know that not every dApp wants to move their stuff to another chain, right? We are also developing the Oasis privacy layer, where you can utilize the privacy features without moving your user or funds or the dApp to our chain, right? You're just plugging into our chain through the messaging bridge, message passing bridge, to get the privacy features you need. Let's say in a secret ballot, right? You can get users on, let's say, in a DAO that's based on Ethereum, voting in private on Sapphire and get the final result back on Ethereum without the user ever knowing it, right? And if we move to the next slide, we can see, that there are some very interesting use cases that come with on-chain privacy, like, private data management on-chain, decentralized ID, secret ballots, a lot of stuff you can do with NFTs, right? Confidential NFTs, sealed bid auctions, gaming. There's a whole spectrum, fog of war, all that, private payment. So check it out, oasisprotocol.org, and I'll give it back to you, Trent.
Thank you, Mate.
Thank you.
So yes, we're very happy. Oasis Sapphire Network came along just in the nick of time to serve our needs with Predictor. So you might ask, okay, how do I become a predictor? And this is just how you onboard. It's calling all AI ML Jedis. So you start off as young naive Luke on Tatooine, and just play with predictor.ai, build a bit of a mental model. But then you go to Dagobah Swamp and you work with Yoda, and you ramp up. And we actually have something called challenge data farming, where it's a weekly competition to make predictions for the price of Ethereum, and you just submit once a week. And so it's sort of no pressure, not every 5 minutes, all of that. It's just once a week. So you do that. Once you're good there, then you're ready to take on Vader with your lightsaber, and you can run your predictor bot with continuous predictions. And finally, once you get good at this, you can keep optimizing to become your jaded Jedi that can disappear just by thinking about it. And that's really the end game where you can really optimize. So that's how to become a predictor and earn money. And like mentioned, you can earn money in 3 different ways. The feed sales from the traders buying from the feeds. That gets distributed to the predictors with a small fee. Stake reshuffling, the people who do bad, their stake goes to the people doing well. And finally, data farming. So we're happy to announce that when we will be launching an incentives program called Predictor Data Farming, and it's $10,000 worth of Ocean every week. And you can think of it like extra sales coming to the predictors based on their accuracy, et cetera. And there's other ways, too, that this ties in, challenge data farming, et cetera. What about becoming a trader? So calling all trading wizards, a trader and predictor. So once again, you can be a little baby, play with predictor.ai, but people will see the promise on your forehead. And then you can run a trader bot, start doing continuous trading, and eventually become that wizened wizard, ready to take on the meanest of the mean, and optimize and increase your profits, et cetera. So that's how to become a trader and predictor. And traders earn money basically from alpha, right? They buy the prediction feed, and they use that as one of the key inputs to trade and make money. And of course, you can also participate in data farming, et cetera. Here's an example benchmark. We've done actually about a year's worth of intensive data science within the Ocean Core team. So we actually didn't even embark upon building the rest of Predictor until we saw that we had good results. I come from the world of AI, ML going back to the late 90s. So, and we have a really great team internally at Ocean Core team. So here's a benchmark where it's 24 days, and it was trading, making predictions and trading every 5 minutes. And it's about 12% returns over 24 days. This particular benchmark, it's on Bitcoin, on Binance. It accounts for order book slippage, but in this case, it does not account for trading fees. So you obviously have to account for everything, and I just wanted to give you a flavor of what this can look like. And if you're a dev or entrepreneur, you can launch your own dApps on top, your own feeds, et cetera. Timeline, we're launching the testnet today. You can go to predictor.ai, you can go to the trading bots, all that. In exactly 4 weeks, we are launching mainnet, and exactly 4 weeks after that, data farming turns on. So to wrap up, I today was my pleasure to share Predictor with you. Accountable, accurate prediction feeds. Quick summary of what it is again. It's crowdsourced predictions, time series predictions, globally distributed, non-custodial, built on the Ocean stack, privacy preserving via our friends at Oasis Sapphire. Predictors make money doing AI ML, and traders make money by using the feeds. So I encourage all of you to try it out. Go to predictor.ai and give it a whirl. And with that, thank you once again for allowing me to share with you something I'm personally very excited about, as well as the whole Ocean Core team, Ocean Predictor. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very exciting. Do we have some questions in the audience? Right.
Yeah, thank you a lot for the presentation. So I have two questions. First, the selling and buying the information is done in Ocean token or in any token like Ethereum, DAI, or anything else. And the second question is about the trading bots. So this is on-chain action, right? So who automates the on-chain action for trading bots?
Yeah, great questions. So the first one, so every prediction feed, whether it's, say, Bitcoin USDT on Binance 5 minutes, or ETH USDT Kraken 60 minutes, whatever, every single one of those is its own Ocean data NFT and data token. So it's leveraging the Ocean infrastructure. So, and these follow ERC20, all of that, right? So it's very composable, et cetera. And in fact, Predictor itself, you can view it as a new DeFi primitive. It's sort of like Chainlink style oracles, but it's future oracles. So overall, within that, we have it set where you do have to stake with Ocean, and then you're buying with Ocean, because we wanted to focus on the staking mechanic, et cetera. So it is with Ocean there. To your second question, yes, it is automated, but these bots, we have within the READMEs, sort of to get going, you can run it locally, where you have your private key. We have in the README to show how you run it on Azure, where you've got the private key within Azure. But of course, you can also use any other infrastructure you want. Some of this emerging agent infrastructure, if the agents can handle private keys, et cetera, whatever you want, right? As far as Predictor is concerned, you just buy the feed and do whatever you want with it, right? So you can, use it as a DeFi primitive. You can use it for trading. You can make derivatives on top, however you want.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
I believe you had one right here, and then right there after.
Hello, great talk. I'm curious how the privacy aspects can affect the viability of the data. So if I'm a trader, what if I want to selectively choose a prediction if someone hasn't predicted or if they have predicted, and if someone might be like a negative signal or malicious, and so kind of how can we possibly like perceive the data that goes into the predictions if we want to act on that data before it actually goes on chain and like finalized?
Yeah, you can't, I mean, as a trader, you buy the feed and you get this aggregated prediction, right? As well as you can see how many Ocean was pointing up versus down, right? So there is the possibility that people might act maliciously and stake a lot, but if they keep doing that, they're going to lose money. So people who are acting maliciously, it would only be around for, they won't last long. So overall, there's an incentive to have accurate feeds, right? And the people who are accurate can stake a lot, right? Because they're not losing money, they're making money all the time. So there's a natural incentive towards accuracy over time. But we can expect, just like any crypto system, there's going to be really interesting dynamics of people, acting well, trying to make money, but sometimes maybe people wanting to mess with the system and have bad accuracy. One thing we've done to help understand this, though, as well, is if you go to predictor.ai, we have a special column that shows the accuracy of the last 24 hours, right? So right now, it actually is hovering around 50% because we've got a random bot running, and we're going to turn on the AI bot shortly here. So then you should see that it's going up to 52 to 60%, depending on the feed. But overall, we can also expect other interesting dynamics, such as lots of people buying the feed. Maybe they follow the naive strategy of buy, and then the price might spike more, right? Or maybe they go the opposite direction, anticipating that. So we don't know for sure what's going to happen, but we know it's going to be interesting.
We've got time for one more.
Yeah, thanks, Trent. Is there a mechanism against wash prediction? Like with 2 wallets myself, it's a zero-sum game, so I don't lose, but there are some ocean incentives on top?
So wash prediction can't really happen, right? I mean, if you're wrong, you lose money. You could actually predict both up and down, and then it doesn't really win you at all, and you're going to lose a little bit on the prediction fee, right? Because there's a small fee to make the prediction. So overall, that's not going to serve you well. But overall, this is Sybil resistant naturally because it's got this staking element, right? So have 1,000 wallets, it doesn't matter.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.